To live and work in Singapore is quite a challenge, yet such a big wish for many of us, including me. I get almost daily DMs about how I got my visa status and how I can work legally as a full-time content creator here in Singapore. The process of knowing which visa to get, the application process, achieving a successful approval can be super frustrating. I've been through it all and I experienced a lot of disappointments, setbacks, and struggles. And I almost gave up my dream to stay in Singapore, but one undertaking has made all the change and all the difference. In this video, I will share my whole journey of coming to Singapore on a tourist visa to the point where I'm now working as a full-time content creator and as a social media coach. So, chapter 1, different visa types. First, I want to talk about the different visa types. I will explain who the visa is for and what criteria you have to fulfill to get it. Number 1, the S-Pass. Who's it for? The S-Pass is designed for mid-skilled technical staff. Can you work with the visa? Yes, you can work with this visa. It's a work permit. The criteria: applications need to earn 3,000 Singapore dollar per month and meet specific qualifications. For example, you need a diploma and you need to have relevant work experience. There are also quotas and levies employees have to adhere to. Difficulty level: while it's still easier than to get an employment pass, applicants still must meet specific salary, educational, and work experience requirements. And additionally, employees must adhere to a quota, which are mostly 9 locals to 1 S-Pass holder, which can complicate the process. Number 2, employment pass. Who is it for? The employment pass is for foreigner professionals, executives, and managers who want to work in Singapore. So can you work with Singapore and with this visa? Yes, it allows you to work in Singapore. Criteria: applicants must have a job offer in Singapore, earn a minimum fixed salary of between 5,000 and 5,500 Singapore dollars, depending on the industry. And they have to possess acceptable qualifications, usually a good university degree, professional qualifications, or specific skills. Difficulty level: the EP has a stricter requirement regarding salary and qualification than other visa types. And the job must be a professional role, and the applicant's qualifications and work experience must be deemed acceptable. The process is definitely more strict and requires a thorough evaluation by the Ministry of Manpower. Number 3, Entrepass. Who is it for? The Entrepass is for foreigner entrepreneurs who want to start and operate a business here in Singapore. Can you work with this pass? Yes, you can work here in Singapore and run your own business. Criteria: applicants must have a significant business proposal that meets certain innovative criteria. This includes already having a registered company or people who are intended to register a company in Singapore. And the business must be entrepreneurial and contribute to the local economy here, with certain investment and business development requirements. Difficulty level: the Entrepass has the highest difficulty level due to its very strict requirements. Applicants need a strong, innovative business proposal that can contribute to the Singaporean economy. This criteria includes specific business milestones, minimum spending, local employment creation, making it the most challenging visa to get. Number 4, Personalized Employment Pass, PAP called. Who is this for? The Personalized Employment Pass, PAP, is designed for high-earning existing employment pass holder and overseas foreigner professionals. Can you work with the visa in Singapore? Yes, it allows you to work in Singapore. Criteria: so as long as you earn 22,500 Singapore dollars, overseas candidates are eligible to apply. It is a self-sponsored visa that allows high-earning executives to search for a job without the need to have a company sponsor. Unlike the employment pass, the PAP is not tied to a specific employer, and this allows holders greater job flexibility. Difficulty level: the PAP is challenging to obtain due to its high salary threshold and stringent eligibility criteria. So applicants must demonstrate substantial professional experience and qualifications to qualify. Number 5, OnePass. Who is it for? The OnePass, also called the Overseas Network Expertise Pass, is for global talents who come to Singapore to work in a specific sector. Can you work with this visa? Yes, you can work with this visa. The first duration is 5 years and then you can renew it. So what are the criteria? You must earn a minimum salary of 30,000 Singapore dollars or any equivalent foreign currency for at least 12 consecutive months. So for an overseas candidate, you must show that you have been working for an established company overseas for at least 1 year. So the difficulty level is quite high. But the unique point here is that you don't need a company to sponsor you, and you can qualify through outstanding achievements such as sports, arts, research, which makes it then different from any other pass. Number 6, Tech Pass. Who's it for? The Tech Pass is for established entrepreneurs or technical specialists who want to start and operate a business or contribute to Singapore's tech ecosystem. Can you work in Singapore? Yes, you can work in Singapore in any tech-related role. Criteria. Applicants must have a substantial track record in a leading tech company and have experience developing a tech product with significant business impact. The Tech Pass is quite challenging to get as it has very stringent criteria and a competitive qualification process. And applicants must demonstrate a significant level of expertise and contribute to the Singapore tech sector here in Singapore. As you can tell, there is a variety of different work visas, and it can be very challenging to even figure out which of the visa that you should get and which is the best for you. So for this too, I had a lot of help, but more on that later. Now, my story. So the minute I arrived in Singapore, I knew that I wanted to stay and work in Singapore for good. But this was way more difficult than I thought, because the reason was that to obtain an S-Pass or an EP, you need to have a sponsor or you have a company to sponsor your visa. But I knew if I applied for any of these jobs, I would have had to give up content creation because I needed a company to sponsor me. So I tried my luck and applied for around 65 jobs here in Singapore. 65, yes. And for 95% of all the applications, I wouldn't even get a reply, and not even to mention an interview. So, and I also applied for so many jobs that I was way overqualified for, and that would probably even have made me really unhappy in the end. So looking back, I'm quite grateful that I didn't get the job. But honestly, I was so frustrated, and I would at one time have taken any job I would have gotten. So here was without a job and facing the fact that I would have to leave Singapore and move back to Zurich, which was at that time really breaking my heart. I was crying myself to sleep because I didn't want to leave Singapore. It had really become my happy place. But as mentioned, without a company sponsoring me an EP or an S-Pass, you cannot work and stay here in Singapore. So I did a lot of online research and found one last possible solution to obtain an EP. And that was incorporating my own business, which then sponsors me as an individual, an EP. But the thought of how on earth that would all work really already made me cry again. So just thinking of all the paperwork and where do I even start gave me a huge headache. But then I found my lifesaver. And okay, this sounds a bit dramatic, but it's honestly so true. And this lifesaver is called a company called OneVisa. OneVisa specializes in helping foreigners incorporate their business and secure their visa in Singapore. So I reached out to them, and from there on, everything worked super smooth. So let me share a bit more about the process. As with all things purchased online, I was very careful and I did a lot of research about the company, and there were only good recommendations about OneVisa. So I approached them via website, and they replied to me within 1 hour. And I already knew that a fast response time would be very important to me, especially as I didn't want to lose time overall. And then a woman called Sarah set up a call with me immediately. She explained to me in detail what options I have to obtain an employment pass as a self-employed content creator. So I then asked for a second call with my brother because he's a lawyer and was always giving me good advice. And Sarah immediately set up another call the next day. And this was all for free. I didn't have to pay anything until that stage. The next step was the business incorporation. After my brother told me that he also had a very good feeling about Sarah and the whole company, I made half the payment of their services in advance, which was around 2,700 Singapore dollars. And then the next step was that Sarah introduced me to Simon, my new corporate secretary. And then they created a group chat on WhatsApp, which I really liked. I was able to ask questions that came to my mind immediately in the chat, and the response time was very fast. To incorporate a business as a foreigner, you need to have a local director. And this can be a Singaporean or a PR holder here in Singapore. And a friend of mine offered to do this, but don't worry, if you don't have this, OneVisa also provides you with such a local director for an additional fee. All my friend had to do was to sign several documents and provide her personal documents such as their IC, but in general, it didn't really cause much effort for my friend to be my local director. And also the many signatures that OneVisa required from my friend were really easy to get, as they sent the documents via email to e-sign, so it literally took her 2 minutes. Sarah helped me to collect all the documents, and the business incorporation was done super fast. And also whenever I felt overwhelmed, I could just call Sarah or Simon and they would help me immediately, which I really, for me, was super key. The next step was to open up a bank account, a business bank account with TransSwap. It was not possible to open up a local bank account with UOB or DBS yet, as you need an SPAS or an EP to do so. But TransSwap was a good solution. Another WhatsApp chat was created for me with someone called Jing, who helped me with everything related to this TransSwap account. Again, the response time was super fast. And even though I had so many questions, Sarah, Simon, and Jing always replied to me within a few minutes and guided me through every step. So the next step then was the employment pass application. Once the bank account was open, I transferred the capital into this TransSwap account, and Sarah applied for my EP. She was always very transparent with me, and she told me that in around 60% of the cases, the Ministry of Manpower mom does not immediately and will just ask for further documents. In some of the cases, it would even take maybe 3 rounds of handing in more documents so that mom can approve. In some cases, she told me it takes up to 3 months for the mom to even get back to you with their decision, which I already had mentally prepared for and planned different trips to other countries, as my visa would have run out. As mentioned, you get 3 rounds in total to hand in more documents to mom so that they can approve your EP. But then after 8 days, Sarah called me and told me that my EP got approved. And I could hardly believe what I heard, and I started crying and called my mom. So I wasn't expecting that my EP got approved so fast. And also Sarah told me that this was exceptionally fast, which I truly believe was just because of the good work they did. So the next step then was opening a business bank account with a local bank, UOB. And again, there Simon was of great help. He arranged all the meetings. We had one in his office with someone from UOB coming to his office to help with all the documents and the signatures. So it was a bit of a struggle, as UOB requires a lot of documents, but Simon followed up so many times with UOB, helped me to get all the documents and guided me through everything. And at some point, I honestly felt a bit sorry because I asked Simon so many questions, but he was always so patient and he never gave me the feeling of being annoying or asking too much. So, and now OneVisa also offers accounting services for your taxes for your business. And I have decided to use these, so I will be working with Visa for the next years. I was recommended a personal accountant, and so far the communication has been really great. In summary, why OneVisa? Fast communication via WhatsApp. You can have as many calls as you wish via Zoom. They are 100% transparent with you. There are no additional or hidden costs. And I've really felt that Sarah, Simon, and Jing also cared about my case. So yeah, OneVisa really provides tailored solutions to cater every specific needs of each client. So I got my EP way faster than I thought, which I'm convinced is due to the good and precise work from Sarah and Simon and the whole OneVisa team. So now what's next for me? Now that I have my business incorporated in Singapore and an EP for at least 2 years, I can stay and work here as a content creator. So that's also my plan for the near future, to stay here. And a few months ago already, I started an account on my social media where I offer social media coaching, as I noticed there is a big demand of becoming a full-time content creator as well. The demand is really steadily increasing, and I really want to teach people that they can do the same as I do. So I offer one-on-one coaching as well as online and in-person workshops. The next project I'm currently working on is my first online course, which I'm planning to launch in September this year. It will be very low price to make it affordable for everyone. The course is called How to Become a Content Creator for Beginners, as I realized especially beginners seem to be struggling with, just starting off. I also got invited to a lot of podcasts or live panels, which I quite enjoy doing. So my goal is really to further grow my personal brand, work with other brands, agency, explore projects with other content creators, and so forth. Singapore has opened so many doors for me as a content creator, and the industry is really great and it's growing fast. And I can really tell that none of this would have been possible for me to stay here without the help of OneVisa, which I will continue to work for my accounting, taxes, and just other needs related to my Swizzy private limited company. All the info about OneVisa is also linked below, and just feel free to comment anything that you would like to know. If you now want to know more things about what I wish I knew before moving to Singapore, for example, how hard it is to get an apartment or what the cost of livings are here, watch this video up next, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.